This is Dr. Hakan Satıroğlu. We are going through the digital transformation weeks, and we are at week 5 now. The topic is ethic and governance, risk and regulation in digital transformation. So this is the opening slide set up the whole week by making the topic feel practical and not abstract. Hopefully, yeah. The focus is ethics, governance, risk and regulation. But the real question underneath all of that is very simple. Can a business do something that is legal and profitable and still be doing the wrong thing? So that is a strong opening because it immediately moves the conversation beyond what does the law allow us. Okay. So we are asking what should responsible management actually look like and should do. So this week is not just about rules, it is about judgment, responsibility, and limits of treating compliance as an enough. So the ethic, some learning outcome I'm including in my slides because they are referring later on for me to some notes, because as you can see, I'm doing this video records as a voluntary for your convenience and as well as my convenience as well. So yeah, some learning outcome regarding for this digital transformation notes. Okay, so just I set this my teaching into three moves. It's really the first part is really about opening up a why compliance is not the same as ethic. Okay, this is like differences. So that is the really important starting because it remains as that meeting legal requirement doesn't automatically mean the organization is acting responsible. So therefore, there is some gap between them. The second one is the move bring us the EU AI Act. I just to keep repeating the same things for AI EU Act. I don't need to remind you from my big 3 notes I mentioned about this one as well. So the point is to use it as a practical analysis tool. So we have some kind of research, and it is shared with us in the literature. I'm going to share with you because these are the academic. This presentation is set for the academic lecture notes, so I'm just referring to some theory and references as well. So the third move goes one step further by applying ethical principle to real tension that regulation alone cannot fully solve. This is where the deeper judgment comes in, and as a learner, you may say that law gives a minimum line, but ethical reasoning helps deal with harder questions around harm, fairness, autonomy, and accountability. So a good way to present this slide to say, this week moves from gap between legal and ethical to practical role of regulation, and then to the hard question of how managers should think and act when the rules alone are not enough. So as I'm trying to reduce the minutes of this presentation, I'm just taking note, I'm reading them. Sometimes I struggle to keep up with what I read and what I'm thinking. So therefore, I'm confusing at some point. So these are the three moves I'm planning to do today. First one, a legal profitable tool that Amazon quietly abandoned. What they abandoned is here is Amazon machine learning team trained a CV screening tool, 10 years of a company on hiring data, CV submitted by applicants who has been hired. So this is abandoned. Okay. So something can be technically clever, commercially useful, still be ethically wrong. So this is the case. The Amazon case is the powerful example, because it's not made up classroom example. It is not, it is real example, and it is Amazon trained a recruitment tool, past hiring data, hoping it helpful help sort CVs more efficiently. But the system learned from a story that already reflected imbalance. So instead of identifying the best candidate in some neutral way, it started picking up patterns from who had been hired before. You see? So this is the key issue. So you need to understand why AI is doing. So this is the stopping point. The Amazon abandoned that system. So yeah, I think it is clear. Okay. So next slide. Oh, it seems I didn't jump this slide. I made explanation about this one. Yeah, next slide is we are compliant. Okay, we are compliant. We are compliant. This sentence is given to you because on the slide, because it could be technically true, we are compliant, but it often avoids the deeper ethical question. Compliance means meeting the minimum legal requirement. Ethic ask more. Okay, that's the key element. So compliance sets a floor, not a ceiling. A company can stay within the rules and still produce harm, especially when technology moves faster than regulation, or when the law is law and only built on or to catch on a narrow type of problem. So because the lawmakers are not the technology people, they are coming laggard, they are laggards, okay, they are not embracing quickly. The socio technical idea is that Tristan Brumfitt. So a technology is a really old one. It's still valid. A technology system never arrives in a vacuum. It enters a workplace, a hiring process, a bank, a hospital, or some other social settings where power, routine, assumptions, and past inequalities are already exist. That means even so. This is the Trist Brumfitt quotation, and that means even if a tool was not deliberately designed to discriminate or exclude, it can still pre-produce those patterns if nobody checks carefully enough. So this is the point. A simple anecdote. You could use it. Imagine a school. Let's say school. We use the same old criteria we always use for selecting perfect, or they can say they are fair, but it's if those criteria already widely favor one type of person over others, then repeating them through a spreadsheet or AI tool doesn't make them neutral. It just makes the same bias look for more organized bias. Okay, so I can say. So the three gaps on the right is given to you. The heart of this slide is timing gap, means the law often arrives late. Scope gap means regulation may focus individual cases, while AI can spread a pattern of unfair across thousands of cases or thousands of employments. And the power gap means the complaint may explain why a firm was not punished. So this is the case. Okay, so they can get away, and you can end up like not in favor of not in favor of you, but because of rules are not coming on time and you are not aware what kind of. So the EU AI Act, is the important element, and therefore I'm going to include that one. I included that one in my slides. So this is this is what socio-technological thinking adds to the Amazon case. Remember, technology and social systems are coming together. Okay, so this is the theory, Tristan Bamford theory. So don't forget, the theory needs to be referred always in the academy. Therefore, so this slide is Amazon case beyond algorithm was biased and ask what the social technical views. So we are practicing for Amazon case. Okay, the basic idea is that in this slide we are practicing. Okay, the basic idea is that technology never operates on its own. It always sits inside the wider social system made up routine, power, assumption. So this is the theory of the Tristan Bamford theory. Okay, so from a purely technical view, some might feel or say the model was just learning from historical company data. But the socio-technical view says that it's exactly the issue. If the past was shaped by unequal hiring patterns, then the tool is not going to simply measuring the talent. It's gonna measure it's gonna be make a decision in favor of these unequal hiring patterns we generated in our history. So it seems like a bit like crazy, but yeah, it works. I mean, AI work in that way. And the middle row on this slide is the making point, the very practical way. Work design was ignored because of the tool was treated as a time-saving automation rather than something that needed to human review, challenge, and redesign of the surrounding process. So it means, it means like we need to check, we need to create kind of like testing and reviewing the decisions. Okay. So this is the main point, and we mentioned about the trust. We mentioned about the trust from the Amazon. Trust was assumed because the data come from Amazon itself, which made the system look credible. But this is our real company data. Is not the same as this. This is the fair data. So because we have some biases on it, and it is not suitable for today's fact. In the right hand in the slide, social reality, because social reality, because we are mentioning about social and technical things. About accountability is probably the most important one. It shows that responsibility became blurred with the AI tool. The ML, machine learning tools or AI team could say that they build what they have been asked. But managers should say they should rely on technical expertise. Okay, then is this ethical? So where the ethical problem sits in a whole system, not in a one line of code or one person or two like managers or the IT department, it doesn't matter. That is the real contribution of the social thinking. So it reminds us that responsibility belongs to the whoever commissions, deploys, or governs the system. So this is coming from that point. So yeah, literally we can't get away from this responsibility, and everyone needs to take charge. And if you were this is one of the good point. If you were the manager who commissioned this tool, at what point should have asked a different question? And so this is a good one. Okay, so I think that one is Amazon case was not just a technical failure; it was a management and governance failure because nobody stopped or asked harder question: what kind of social reality the tool was reproducing or generating. Okay, yeah. So EU AI, using the EU AI Act as a 5-step analysis. So this is, I brought that one from the Trist Bamford idea. And this slide is kind of like useful because it moves Amazon case study. The algorithm was biased and ask what social technical views. Okay, these are what we mentioned. The basic idea is that technology never operates on its own, and it always sits inside a wider social system made up of routine, power, assumptions, and decision process. So we need to see all these elements with this way. So for the EU Act, I can say that EU Act actually does. The idea is that the uses the risk-based approach rather than treating every AI system the same. Some uses are banned altogether. Some are classed as a high risk and heavily regulated. So some technical details are there, okay? So you need to read and you need to see what kind of AI systems are accepted. Some mainly carry transparency duty, and many lower risk uses are left large outside the strict obligations. European Commission described the act in exactly those broad categories, and it entered into force entered into force 1st of August 2024, with the different parts applying in the stage rather than all at once. The most important part for this session is the high risk column, because that is where recruitment and employment related usage sits. The Commission guidance explains that high risk classification depends on the intended purpose of the system. So therefore, you need to learn about that one. So therefore, Amazon CV screen example is useful here. It helps show where the recruitment tool or whatever tool, digital transformation you are going to apply could fail. Okay, so you need to take care of all these elements. And okay, now the next slide is I think I kind of developed this move to identify the use case. Okay. And a little bit, I would like to mention about cybersecurity is a governance problem, not an IT problem. So it is actually, this is the title. Cybersecurity failures are often explained as a technical failures, but the deeper problem is usually governance. The WannaCry case is the good example because the vulnerability was not the same mysteries unknown. The software risk was already understood. Warnings had already been issued, and support for Windows XP had already ended. So the real question is not how did hackers get in, but why was an unknown risk left sitting there for so long? That shift the conversation away from the coding and IT maintenance alone, and towards leadership, decision making, accountability, and risk ownership. The right hand side of the slide is saying that, or showing why why this is the governance story. So there was no clear owner with enough authority to force action. Cause concern kept delaying replacement and patching escalation. Roots were weak, and cyber risk was treated as a technical issue rather than strategic one. That is what makes the case so useful. The organization involved were not unaware of the danger. They simply didn't convert awareness into action. A small anecdote you could use, you could remind yourself on this one. Imagine a building manager is told for 3 years that the fire door don't close properly, but keeps postponing repairs because budgets are not tight and nobody senior wants to sign off the expense. If a fire later spreads, it would sound strange to say the problem was just the door. The real issue would be that the warning was known, but nobody owned the decision to act. So this is the case. Okay, this is cybersecurity is the governance problem. And again, it's returning back to the management skills and management elements. And yeah, this is another one is the Floridi's 5 principles. And this is the like synthesized from 47 AI ethic documents Floridi's made. And like this slide is taking us like ethic principle onto the force and forces them into the real case instead of leaving them in nice sounding words. That is why the title says applied to Amazon, not described in abstract. On their own word, like beneficence and non-maleficence or autonomy can sound instant and psychological, but once you put them in next a real hiring tool, they become much easier to understand. The basic idea is that a system should create benefit, avoid harm, respect people's ability to know and challenge what is happening to them. And you can say treat people fairly and be explainable enough that its decisions are not hidden inside the black box. This slide is showing and emphasizing that one, that Amazon hiring tools struggle on all 5. First one is the beneficence. Simply means who is this system actually helping? Amazon tool may have promised efficiency for the company by saving time in recruitment, but that doesn't automatically mean it created any benefit for applicants being judged by it. A useful way to explain this is that a process can be efficient for organization and still unfair for people going through it. So this is the case. Then there is non-maleficence, which means avoidance harm. Here the point is that even if the tool was not fully deployed into the final hiring decision, it is still had the build capacity to disadvantage women because of the pattern it had learned. So the ethical concern is not just about harm after deployment. It's also about designing a system within the structure to produce unfair harm in the first place. The third principle, autonomy, is about whether people know what is happening, and have any meaningful ability to respond. In this case, applicants didn't know where were they were being algorithmically ranked, so they couldn't question it, challenge it, or opt out. The matters because being silently judged by hidden system that making decision power away from the person affected. So this is the way, okay? And for the Amazon case, these are the fails one, okay? And the fourth principle is the justice. It's probably the clearest one here. The justice asks whether people are being treated fairly and whether the system is reproducing inequality, because the model learned from the older hiring pattern that were already biased. It risks carrying those inequalities forward. So instead of correcting unfairness, it could have automated it. So it doesn't have function to remove it at the time. Okay, it can be doable, but it is not like for the Amazon case it wasn't there. Okay, so the last principle is explicability. Is especially important because it connects ethic, governance, and law. Explicability means a system should be understandable enough that people can know how it is working, and what kind of logic it is using, and its outcomes can be questioned. In Amazon case, that was a big, and this is legally required, okay, at the moment. And I think I'm going to move to the next slide because it seems I'm just keep repeating the same things. Yeah, then this is the tutorial activity, and this one and the next slide is about next one. This one and next one. And classify, apply, and advise what we learned today's tutorial. What to do in activity, and second one shows what is a strong final. Second slide is strong final response should sound. Since this is also for you, maybe YouTube audience, maybe some of my learners from the school, I would explain them less like classroom instructions and more like a guide and how to think real AI ethics case properly. The activity slide is basically saying do not stop at this feels wrong. This sounds risky. Starts by choosing a case, then classify it under EU Act, EU AI Act, and then bring it ethical principle to see what the law alone misses, and finally turn that into the practical recommendation. That matters because in real life, managers are rarely voted for just spotting a concern. They are expected to say what kind of system this is and what risk category it falls into, what law requires, what ethical tension still is, and what should actually be done next. So this is the case in the business, and you need to prepare yourself for your future prospect feature like job. You need to adjust that one because the managers doesn't want to see there's a risk there. They just want to get more from you. Okay, and yes, I think I'm gonna jump to final farewell slides. Before going that one, maybe I should stop here. So maybe step one is, maybe I can mention step one, classify the case under EU AI Act. Okay, just it is making you to open and read a little bit about that one. That gives you the legal starting point. Step two is to apply the Floridis principle to find what the law doesn't fully capture, such as autonomy, fairness, harm, lack of benefit to people affected. So let me go back to Floridis. Floridi calls framework, 5 principles, helping us to see them. Okay. And step 3 is to connect the issue to governance, because once you know the legal and ethical problem, you still need to ask who owns the system, who reviews it, who can override it, and who is accountable. If harm appears, then step 4 is to make one specific recommendation, not a vague one, please. Okay, and that like comments should be like there should be more oversight. The point is to recommend something clear, owned, and testable, etc. So yeah. So maybe clearly I can say we want to use AI to help make an important decision. A weak response is to say that sounds risky. A strong response for this case study is seeing first what kind of AI you use illegally. Second, what ethical problem might still remain, and even if it is legally allowed. Third, who inside the organization is responsible for controlling that risk, so on. So this is like my final thing for takeaways. 3 takeaways. For it is like connecting with 2 and with 3 as well, and classify with the EU AI Act. Okay, sorry. Legal and ethical are not the same line. The EU AI Act gives the practical classification tool, and Pluralist principle find what regulations cannot reach. So altogether, this is on my right. You can see that references as well I use in this slide. Thank you very much for listening.